In the bustling heart of New York City, a silent humanitarian crisis has been unfolding as over 150,100 migrants have arrived since the spring of 2022. Mayor Eric Adams, in response to this unprecedented influx, has declared it a crisis of immense proportions, estimating a staggering cost of $12 billion over the next 3 years. This surge has not only strained the city's resources, but has also prompted urgent appeals to the federal government for assistance. But why is it happening, and what is the response of the government as well as the natives of New York City? At the forefront of this surge are Venezuelans escaping the clutches of the second-largest external displacement crisis globally. Fleeing economic decline and an authoritarian socialist government, well over 7 million Venezuelans have left their homeland, seeking refuge in various parts of the world. According to the UN Commission, Venezuela's deteriorating financial situation has sparked an exodus of staggering proportions, making it the second-largest external displacement crisis in the world. Economists have likened Venezuela's economic decline to situations seen only in times of war. The Trump administration's imposition of sanctions in 2019 aimed at crippling President Nicolas Maduro's administration further fueled the crisis. The majority of Venezuelans sought refuge in Latin America and the Caribbean, but recently, a significant number have embarked on the long and perilous journey to the United States. Notably, the flow of migrants is not exclusive to Venezuelans. A growing number of people from countries in Africa and even some from China have joined the journey. Many have traversed the southern border with the assistance of officials in Texas and even from El Paso, a Democrat-led city, at the migrants' request. The influx has placed immense pressure on New York City's infrastructure and resources, particularly its homeless shelter system. As of late November, more than 67,200 migrants were staying in city homeless shelters, contributing to a total of 122,100 people seeking refuge across the city. To manage this unprecedented situation, the city has transformed a Midtown hotel into a migrant intake center and established a new agency to coordinate their arrivals. However, the city's response has been fraught with challenges as the shelter system reaches its breaking point. Numerous proposals to use various locations as emergency housing, including hotels, tent shelters on Randall's Island, school gymnasiums, and office buildings, have faced resistance from residents. Even the idea of housing migrants on cruise ships was briefly considered by Mayor Adams. As the city grapples with the logistical nightmare of accommodating this influx, Mayor Adams has taken a multifaceted approach. He has sought legal relief from the city's unique right to shelter mandate, which obligates the city to provide beds to anyone who asks. Additionally, the mayor has implemented a rule requiring single adult migrants to reapply for shelter every 30 days, while families with children must reapply after 60 days to remain in shelters. The rationale behind this decision is to free up much-needed space in the city's shelters and, more importantly, to discourage new arrivals. Adams and some City Hall insiders believe that the city's long-standing mandate to provide shelter to anyone in need, for as long as they need it, has unintentionally become a magnet for migrants. By ending the guarantee of shelter after 60 days, there is hope that it will dissuade individuals from flocking to New York City, unaware of the challenges they may face. However, this move has raised concerns and criticism. Critics argue that the 60-day shelter limit contradicts the city's ethos of providing refuge to those in need. The city has already issued over 10,800 60-day notices, sparking debates about the ethical implications of potentially forcing people onto the streets. Advocacy groups such as the Legal Aid Society and the Coalition for the Homeless insist that the right to shelter is crucial in preventing mass tent encampments similar to those seen in other cities. In an attempt to address the growing crisis, the city has also adopted a discouragement strategy. Mayor Adams, who previously traveled to Mexico, Ecuador, and Colombia to meet with migrants, has changed his messaging, actively discouraging migrants from seeking refuge in New York City. Flyers distributed at the southern border now warn that there is no guarantee of shelter or services in the city and suggest considering other U.S. cities due to the high cost of living. The situation has gotten worse due to the flooding in September. As rain poured down on the city, the drainage system struggled to cope, exceeding its 1.5 to 2 inch per hour capacity. The immediate response from Mayor Adams faced criticism, with suggestions that a more proactive stance, such as advising people to stay home earlier in the day, could have mitigated the impact. However, the bigger concern looms in the long term. Addressing the challenge of draining water faster requires significant upgrades to the city's sewers. Currently, there is a program allocating approximately $525 million annually to upgrade and expand pipes. Yet the magnitude of the issue calls for a more extensive, potentially $100 billion investment over several decades, as highlighted in a 2021 city report. Past severe storms, such as Hurricane Ida in 2021, which claimed the lives of 13 New Yorkers, highlight the need to recalibrate the sewers. However, the financial burden is considerable. New York City residents largely fund water and sewerage investments through their water bills, and the prospect of doubling or tripling these bills to cover the needed upgrades is simply unfeasible. The city's outstanding water-related debt is already expected to surge from $32.1 billion to $37.8 billion in the next 5 years. Additionally, the impact of inflation and rising interest rates further compounds the challenge, making it more expensive to undertake infrastructure projects. With interest rates nearly doubling since early 2020, the water system now faces close to 5% interest on new debt. Given these financial constraints, New York City finds itself in a position where it deems more significant investments in sewer upgrades as dependent on federal funding. Unfortunately, the federal focus tends to gravitate towards large-scale projects like flood walls, leaving the city reliant on external sources for crucial infrastructure improvements. The city's $160.6 billion 10-year infrastructure budget is spread thin across various essential areas, including highway and bridge maintenance, school buildings, hospitals, and sanitation facilities. A unique aspect of the budgetary dilemma is the allocation of $4 billion annually for emergency shelter and support for migrants. If you like our videos so far, make sure to subscribe to the channel. The cost of caring for the migrants has become a significant concern for the city. The estimated expenditure for the current fiscal year is approximately $5 billion, with Mayor Adams projecting a staggering $12 billion over the next 3 years if migrants continue arriving at the current rate. Governor Kathy Hochul has pledged to ask the state legislature for an additional $1 billion in the next budget to assist the city in managing this financial burden. Despite the financial commitments, the city's spending has faced scrutiny. One notable case involves DocGo, a medical services firm that secured a no-bid $432 million contract to move hundreds of migrants outside the city. The contract outlined provisions for housing, food, and various services, but migrants claim they were misled, receiving documents falsely stating they were eligible to work. As migrants seek refuge, many are pursuing asylum, a process laden with complexities and delays. Between March and May of the previous year, nearly 39,000 new immigration court cases were filed in New York City. However, the asylum process can take 3 to 4 years before a final decision is made, leaving migrants in a state of limbo. To support newly arrived asylum seekers, the city employs caseworkers to connect them with services, enroll their children in school, and help them find immigration lawyers. Mayor Adams, recognizing the need for comprehensive assistance, announced the creation of the Asylum Application Help Center in June. This center aims to bring together immigration legal service providers and pro bono lawyers, assisting thousands of asylum seekers. By mid-October, the Help Center teams had completed over 5,600 applications, indicating a concerted effort to navigate the asylum process. Notably, the Biden administration's decision to grant work permits to hundreds of thousands of Venezuelan migrants who had entered the U.S. in September has provided a ray of hope. Around 2,000 people in New York have filed work permit applications, with the city's Help Center assisting 300 eligible individuals. However, challenges persist, with advocates and immigration lawyers expressing concerns about the lack of additional legal support. Without such support, many migrants may miss their application deadlines, potentially falling into the perilous category of undocumented immigrants. Already, a considerable number of new arrivals in New York have joined the underground economy, finding jobs but remaining vulnerable to deportation and exploitation. What do you think about this immigrant influx in NYC? Let us know in the comments section below, and make sure to like the video. Thanks for watching.